So I've got my little UFO sprite here, and I want to do the most basic animation possible, um, just to have an example, essentially. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new file. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is save the file I was working on. Then I'm going to make a new file. So I'm going to go up here to File. I'm going to hit New. I'm going to copy the resolution from my image here. So just copied those down. And then in here, I'm going to make a red background layer. I find those easy to deal with for animation. I just find myself missing the occasional pixel, and I use the red layer to check whether I've missed things. But you can use gray there; it doesn't matter. So I'm going to hit create on this. That's going to make me this big red thing, which is real annoying to look at. So I'm going to shut the red thing off for now. And then I'm going to hit Window Workspace Animation, and that's going to change things around a bunch. I've still got the same tools up top. I've got some tool options over here. We'll need that probably. I've got my layers over here. On this side, I lost my color selector, so I'm going to get my color selector back. I like that. Dockers, and that thing's the advanced color selector. So that's going to be important to the kind of animation I'm trying to make here. And then in here, I've got my original. So I'm going to grab the 3 layers of my original, and I'm just going to drag these layers over to this other picture, and I'm going to drop them in here. And now they're all out of order, so I need to reorder them. So I want it to go body, and then body on the bottom, lights in the middle, dome on the top. I don't need this other paint layer, so I'm just going to remove that. And now I've got my ship kind of in here. So my goal is going to be to make the lights change color. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go out to frame 10 here, and I'm going to hit set end time there. Now I've got that set as my end time. I'm going to go over here to my dome. I'm going to click this first frame, and I'm going to hit blank frame there. Then I'm going to hit blank frame here, blank frame here. So these are the things that I'm going to change. I'm going to push the little light on. That's just going to that's going to give me some onion skinning. So that's going to tell me what's changed. So I'm going to grab this guy. I'm going to hit copy keyframe. I'm going to paste my keyframe. I'm going to copy this keyframe. I'm going to paste that over here. I'm going to copy this keyframe here, and I'm going to paste it over here. So that's got my keyframes. What that's going to do is that's going to put the end of my animation looking just like the beginning of my animation. So if it plays in a loop, it doesn't look screwy. So essentially what I'm going to make this do is I'm going to make the ship shake just a little bit, and I'm going to make the lights all turn red. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go into frame 5. So that's the middle of this animation. From 0 to 10, 5 is the middle. And I'm going to grab my magic select. I'm going to make sure this threshold's nice and high. I'm going to make sure that I'm on the lights layer. I'm going to navigate over here, and I'm going to select something in my lights layer. So then I'm going to look real close and make sure that I've got my entire light. And if I don't, like, see I'm missing a little bit of pixel up there. So like if I did this with a real low threshold, I'd get something like this where I'm missing lots of pixels up here at the top. I'm just going to bump my threshold way up and hit select. I can see I'm getting a little of the blue, so that got it just a little bit too high. And that's getting a little too much blue again, so I'm just going to bump it down to 83. I think 83 will work for me. And then I'm going to scroll over. I'm going to hold down the shift key and click the next light. I'm going to scroll over, hold down the shift key, click the next light. Shift key, next light, shift key, next light. So I've got my 5 lights all selected. Now I'm going to click the bucket fill tool, and I'm going to make sure, so normally this is going to be on fill contiguous region. I'm going to hit fill the active region, and then, I'm going to hit control. I'm going to select that color. So I've got my yellow color here fading to red here. So I'm going to click this kind of reddish orange. That's what color I'm going to make my lights turn. And I'm just going to hit paste, or hit fill. So now I've got my lights are all red. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to frame 4 and I'm going to select a color that's not quite as red and I'm going to hit fill. Then I'm going to go to frame 3. I'm going to select a color that's not quite as red. I'm going to hit fill. I'm going to go to frame 2. I'm going to select a color that's not quite as red. I'm going to hit fill. I'm going to go to frame 1. I'm going to select a color that's not quite as red and hit fill. Now I can play this to watch it happen. So we can see that those are working. Now, instead of trying to hit these exactly again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy this frame here, and I'm going to paste it on the other side. I'm going to copy frame 3 to frame 7. I'm going to copy frame 2 to frame 8. And I'm going to copy frame 1 to frame 9. And then I'm just going to I'm going to slow this down a little bit. I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to hit play. Okay, so my colors are going yellow to red and back. Okay, now I'm going to go into frame 5 and I'm going to do just a little bit of a shake on the body of the UFO. So I've got my body selected here, right? I'm going to grab actually the body, the lights, and the dome all at once here. Oh, and I'm going to let my selection go. So to let the selection go, you can hit Control-Shift-A and it'll let the selection go. So now I've got all my whole shape here, and I'm going to hit Control-T, and that's going to give me my transform tool, and I'm just going to rock that shape. Oh. So I realize that I'm selecting frame 5. I want it to shake a little bit to the left and then a little bit to the right. So I want it to fire when it's centered in the middle. So I'm going to actually go to frame 3, and that's where I'm going to do my transform. So I've got my 3 layers selected. I'm going to hit Control-T here. I've already got my transform tool open. So I'm going to give the ship a little rock there. And then I'm going to go to frame 2, and something interesting is going to happen. See that green there? That's the onion skinning. So I've already got my transform tool open, and we're just going to match that, but not quite get to the green. And then we're going to go here, and we're going to match this, and we're not quite going to get to that next green. So we've just rotated a little bit. So now if I hit play on this, it kind of shakes just a little bit off to the side. And then the other side, nothing happens, right? So in frame 5, I need to shake this back, right? So frame 4, I've got this guy, and I want to shake this back towards neutral. And frame 5, I'm going to want to bring things entirely back to neutral. And if I'm not sure what neutral looks like for the dome and the body, let's see. I can always copy the dome keyframe from 0 and paste it here. And then I can turn off my onion skinning to see whether I'm matched up. So frame 0, frame 5. I can see the body is shaking just slightly there. So my body's not quite in the right spot. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that keyframe and paste it here. And now my lights probably are just a little bit dorky. So I'm going to just grab the lights frame, hit Control-T there, and spin my lights down just a little bit. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. Okay, ship rocks just a little bit. I do feel like the lights are a little dorky right here. So I'm going to shift the lights back down a little bit. The lights. So if you want to see how the lights shake, you can turn on onion skinning for the lights. And we could switch it to be only forward in time. Let's see, so we can oops, I should no, crud. Okay, so I've got my coloration here just slightly adjusted, and I just want to turn off the past. So that'll just let me see the future in my onion skins. So if I turn this on, the future's where they're going to be the next frame. So I can see that here, that movement's too big between those two. So we can go ahead and select my lights here. And we want to rotate the lights down just a little bit there. And there they look okay. Okay. And then we can copy these frames. So I'm just going to grab this guy, I'm going to copy, and paste. Here I'm going to copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. So I don't actually know a better way to do this. I kind of wish I did. There probably is a better way to do this. I feel a little bit silly doing it like this. There doesn't seem to be a keyboard shortcut for this, which is kind of obnoxious. Okay, so let's see what we got. Okay, so my ship shakes just slightly. I'm a little annoyed by some of where my lights end up. So that one, the lights seem wrong. So I think the lights shouldn't have rotated so much there. And then I can see that they're the same here. I'm going to set them to rotate a little higher. Hopefully that'll sort things out. Okay, so let's see. Let's play this back at like real slow. Okay, there's still one frame there where the lights get a little bit too close to the top. So I think that's better. Okay, so let's see what we've got. Okay, there's still one frame on this side where they get too close to the top. I need those onion skins off. They're tweaking me out. Okay, so just looking at the distance of the lights, looks like they get too close on frame 6. And I want to be on the lights. And then they're a little close on frame 7. They're also a little close frame 8. A little close. Oops, too much. A little close frame 9. Frame 10, they look okay. Okay, so let's see what our animation looks like. Okay, so our ship does a little shimmy. It gets flat in the middle. I think I'm pretty happy with this. The lights go from yellow to red, go and back to yellow. I think this is going to be pretty decent for my firing animation. So then I'm going to go ahead and hit File, Save As, and I'm going to save this in my UFO game, and I'm going to call this UFO firing. And that'll be something I can add to a game in a minute.